Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher. Welcome to my world. Welcome to another Jack Quick Reacts videos. I just got back from seeing Superman and I couldn't wait to share my reaction because, oh man, this was quite an experience. I know there's been a lot said about Superman. There's been a whole lot of discussions about this movie, about James Gunn taking over the DCU, and of course from people still having mixed opinions about past Superman movies, from Zack Snyder to Superman Returns. I know there's a lot of that. I'm not going to dive too much into that. I just want to talk about this movie because I got to say, this movie, this Superman movie, it was a hell of a ride. I feel like this is one of those movies where it's coming along at just the right time, during just the right set of circumstances, not just for movies in general, not just for the superhero genre, but for the world as a whole. I know that's kind of grandiose, but I do mean this because this Superman movie it feels like it feels so necessary in the sense that it reminds us not just the current generation, but entire generations of the past of who Superman is, what he represents, and why he still matters, and why he will always matter. And it's that last part that I think is what I think past Superman movies have lacked. I mean, so much, I could say so much about the original Richard Donner Superman from 1978. That movie was pretty much as pure Superman as it comes. I don't think any movie could ever truly match it, but this one comes pretty damn close. Now, before I go any further, I want to say I might let some spoilers up, but I'm going to try to keep them to a minimum this time. I don't want to reveal too many details other than, what I can, because this is a movie I really encourage everyone to check out. I don't care if you're skeptical about this movie. I don't care if you're still a diehard fan of Zack Snyder's Superman. Still, give this movie a chance. Check it out because it's not just a movie about Superman. It's a movie that really encapsulates what he represents, and it feels like a movie that you go in thinking what you were going to expect. You kind of think, okay, this is who Superman is. This is kind of what the kind of story they're going to tell. I gotta say, my expectations were definitely blown away and raised quite a bit because what I really like about this movie is that it goes in. When you go into it, it goes in assuming that you know who Superman is. It goes in assuming you know his origin. His origin has been told time and again. It doesn't retell or have a whole lot of elaborate flashbacks about how he escaped Krypton, or how he grew up in Smallville, or what his childhood was like. Yeah, there are some references to that. There are some images of that, but this movie really kind of focuses on Superman having been. He's been Superman for a while now. He lives in a world where he's not the only hero. There are other superpowered beings in this world. They're called metahumans, and they vary in terms of their abilities and what they can do. There is in the trailers, we saw Hawkgirl, we saw Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, we saw Mr. Terrific. There are a few other characters who pop up, but there are heroes in this world, and there are threats that these heroes need to confront. But you get the sense early on that what it means to be a hero, and what truly makes a great hero is something that's still kind of emerging, because Superman, he has always been like the measure by which all other heroes are measured towards. Whether it's not just in terms of his power, but in terms of his ideals, the lines he won't cross, his sense of morality, and this movie it reflects that perfectly. It does not try to twist, bend, or subvert Superman's ideals and everything he represents. It really does kind of just lean into the fact that he's not just a pure idol. He's kind of, a dork. He's kind of just a goody two shoes to the utmost. He's just impossibly good. He's impossibly kind. No matter how powerful he is just going to be he's just going to use all this power to help people, to do good, to save people. It doesn't matter what others think of him, doesn't matter what the world around him is like. He's just going to do good. That is who Superman is. It's simple. You might not think you could build a complex story or narrative around it, but this movie, it definitely does. And from the very beginning, we kind of are in a situation where Superman is actually taking quite a bit of L's. You go into this movie, you might be mistaken that, why is Superman losing? Why is he getting beat? Well, some of that is because, one, he has been Superman for a while here. And some of these losses he's taken are not because he's not powerful. It's because the forces he's up against are getting stronger. It's because he's not just about trying to save the day. He's not just trying to defeat the monsters or the supervillains. His what he does with all his power, what he tries to do at least, is try to help people. He tries to save people. He even tries to save animals. I mean, other heroes might go out of their way to fight the monster, fight and try to do everything they can to win the fight. But Superman winning a fight doesn't matter to him as much as protecting the innocent people. That is emphasized multiple times throughout this movie. It doesn't matter whether what he's fighting or who he's up against. What matters to him is protecting the people and just protecting life in general. If he can stop something if he can stop, for him, he doesn't see monsters. I mean, if he could stop a monster rather than hurt it, he will. And other heroes don't seem to understand that, and at sometimes they are kind of annoyed by the fact that Superman tries to do everything. He tries to be so good. He tries to do everything the hard way, but the problem is the hard way is the right way. And Superman, he does what's right no matter what. And yeah, I know it seems like I'm belaboring that, but this movie belabors that too. It belabors the fact that Superman really is this good. He really is this kind. He really is this altruistic. And it's hard for even other heroes to wrap their head around that. But those heroes, they play a part in this movie. They all have a chance to shine in this movie. But I think the biggest thing that makes this movie work, the thing that really drives it, it's the plot by Lex Luthor. Now, if more than anything else in this movie, in addition to reminding you what Superman stands for, it should give everyone just a new appreciation for Lex Luthor, because Nicholas Hoult, who plays Lex Luthor, he knocked it out of the park. He really owned the role in ways I don't think I've seen anyone do since Gene Hackman. He will say this: if you're expecting for a Lex Luthor who's more complicated, if you're looking for a Lex Luthor who's got some nuance to him, you're not going to find that in this movie. This is probably one of the most unsympathetic, unlikable, and just outright irredeemable versions of Lex Luthor you're ever going to see. I mean, you will see him you hear him make excuses. You'll hear him make arguments for why he hates Superman so much, but it's really not as deep. I mean, some of the things he does throughout this movie are pretty egregious. I mean, they're just awful. You should not have a lick of sympathy for Lex Luthor by the end, because some of the things he does just to get to Superman are just beyond evil. This is someone who truly just does not care about anyone. He would gladly let the world be destroyed if it meant destroying Superman. He has absolutely no morals. He has no sense of no sense. He has no perspective, and he is the driving force of this movie. He is the mastermind in more ways than one. He's the one who he's the reason why Superman is taking so many of these losses, because not only, in addition to him being just irredeemably evil on every level, this version of Lex Luthor is just extremely capable. The way he carries himself from the beginning of the movie till the very end, this guy, he's not just smart, he is dangerous. He is unfazed until he really can't, and he knows he can't win, because you get the sense early on that he hasn't just studied Superman. He hasn't just been plotting like your typical evil villain. This is someone who knows his enemy better than anyone. This is someone who can predict everything Superman's going to do down to the letter, and he will exploit every possible means, no matter how egregious it is, to take him down. And he goes really far in terms of what he's willing to do to Superman, what he's willing to do to others who either are associates or unwitting allies. Which that is another thing this movie does. There are a number of other familiar DC characters who are kind of roped into Luthor's plot, and the way they have to carry themselves it's pretty dramatic. I mean, you will meet some of the you'll meet characters. I don't want to spoil some of the people who you come across, but what they have to endure because of Luthor is just awful, and it really does kind of it really does test Superman in the sense that, yeah, he has to. How are you going to keep being this good? How are you going to confront someone who just hates him this much and is willing to do so many awful things just to hurt him? It's really hard to wrap your head around. But that's the thing. You never get the sense Superman is tempted to cross any lines. You never get the sense that Superman is going to do anything that seems out of character or anything that seems unheroic. Who he is from the start and who he is from the beginning, it really doesn't change that much. I mean, yeah, he is challenged and pushed. There are some secrets, there are some revelations, and there's also some manipulations you come across along the way where it kind of like Luthor doesn't just try to fight Superman himself. He does try to turn the entire planet against him. He does seem to succeed for a while, but again, this is Superman has always let his actions do the talking. He's the one. He lets what he does and let his deeds speak for themselves. And people, the media might not respond to that, internet trolls might not respond to that, but the people he helps definitely do. And that's another thing that you encounter all throughout this movie. Yeah, the people in power and the people in the media, they might think they might love having their own weird, twisted opinions about Superman. They might have this skepticism and cynicism about how anyone this powerful could be this good. But for the people he actually helps, the people whose lives he affects, everyday people who are nowhere near as powerful or as him or as smart as Lex Luthor, those people matter to him more than anyone's opinion. And just the fact that happens throughout this movie, it's just a nice reminder that, yeah, this is the essence of Superman. This is, what he stands for. And the more you see him do what he does, the more you want to cheer him on, and the more you want to see Lex Luthor lose. I mean, that's another really, that is something else this movie does. It really makes you not just makes you root for Superman, that's kind of a given, but it makes you just absolutely despise Lex and everything he's doing. There's like no excuse for some of the crap he does. And as devious as he is, it's just, it really does go pretty hard. But but it's not just beyond his enemies. The way Superman affects others around him is also really, really imperative. This kind of is where Lois Lane enters the picture. And I will say, David Cornsweet, who plays Superman, and Rachel Brosnahan, who plays Lois, their dynamic is really something here. I think it is actually better than the dynamic we've seen in previous iterations of Superman and Lois. You get the sense that from early on, I will spoil this, that Lois knows Clark Kent is Superman. That they don't go through the whole song and dance of Lois trying to figure out who he is. That's not kept a secret. They know who each other are. They are together. But being together, the dynamic is interesting because at the sense, Superman, he is so kind and trusting. He's the kind of person who will assume the best in people. Whereas Lois, she's not just an intrepid reporter. She's the ultimate skeptic. She doesn't take anything for granted. She will always ask the hardest questions. She be the your harshest critic, even to Superman. She is willing to ask him some of the harshest questions, and to some extent that kind of pushes him in ways that he's not used to. I mean, that's the one thing that is, I think, that is one thing that makes their dynamic work so well. Because Lois being willing to confront Superman in ways that aren't easy, and the fact that the questions she asks him, the points she makes, they're difficult, but at the same time they're necessary. It's kind of the truth part and the truth, justice, and a better tomorrow mantra that Superman is iconic for. And the fact that she kind of represents a reminder that, hey, the truth matters, and hey, this is, and you can't avoid it. That's I think that it kind of plays into why they're so connected, not just romantically, but just from a dynamics perspective. And also Lois does a lot more here than simply she's actually she's not really a damsel that much in this movie. That is something that is actually pretty refreshing. In fact, there are times when Lois has to be a bigger hero than Superman, and some of it is direct, but other times just her doing what she does, her being a reporter alongside with Jimmy Olsen and Perry White. They really are the truth. They really represent the truth part in Superman's truth, justice, and a better tomorrow mantra, because the truth really does matter here, because Lex Luthor doesn't really care for the truth. He's never shown any regard for the truth at all in this movie. In fact, by the end, when Lex the only time Lex really tells the truth is towards the end. And trust me, when you hear it, it just makes you hate him even more. And that's just so perfect in the sense that it captures the pettiness and the ego of Lex Luthor. And but in addition to Lois and the supporting cast, there is one other character who absolutely steals the show and who's probably worth seeing this movie. It's Krypto the dog. Now, James Gunn has already shown before that he knows how to make animals lovable. I mean, he made Rocket Raccoon the most endearing character possible in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Well, Krypto really steals the show throughout this movie. Krypto is he's kind of chaotic. He's not just an obedient pet who does exactly what Superman needs to do. No, this version of Krypto is a lot less unruly, and for reasons that I won't spoil. You'll find out you'll find out later in the movie. But yeah, Krypto steals the show on multiple occasions, and that I promise you, that dog is definitely going to have a lot of fans after people see this movie, because Superman, as powerful as he is, some of his best strengths is in the people that support him, as well as the people he inspires. I've often argued that one of Superman's greatest powers isn't just in what he does physically, it's how he inspires others. And throughout this movie, people do need to be inspired, not just ordinary people, not just, people who are, find themselves vulnerable, find themselves scared, but other heroes as well. I mean, and I think that's important because in the context of this movie, it establishes there are metahumans in this world. It establishes that there are powerful beings in this world. It also establishes, there's some really weird and twisted science going on. And, with all these powerful people, and whether some of them are threats, but for the heroes, how do you be a hero? What makes them a hero? There's a distinct sense that being a hero for a lot of these metahumans is it's kind of incomplete at the moment. They think they know they're being a hero, but then Superman, just by doing what he does, says no. You're fighting, you're saving the day, but to be a hero, it requires more of you. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard. You have to elevate others. You can't just, it's not enough to just, keep the world intact. It matters much more to, inspire the people around you, the people to be better, the people to, and it really kind of gets to the heart of not just Superman's power, but his kindness. That is really his kindness is really an extension of his heroism, and it shows in a lot of some small ways throughout the movie, but they're obvious as well. He does plenty to set himself apart from Guy Gardner, from Hawkgirl, even from Mr. Terrific, who, by the way, Mr. Terrific has some moments in this movie that are going to earn him a lot of new fans. I imagine that that people will want to learn a lot more about him after seeing this movie, but just Superman, just being who he is, he affects them all. He affects everyone around them, and he affects them for the better. And it's because of his effect on people. It's because of the effectiveness of his kindness and his ideals, and more than anything, his humanity. That is what really gives this movie such an impact. Because yes, Superman is an alien. He's not born. He wasn't born on Earth, but his humanity runs far deeper than anyone else. It's something that other Superman movies and even other Superman media have not always emphasized. It's often tempting to deconstruct or overthink Superman in ways that just detract from just how simple it is. He is at his core. I mean, he's not just a hero. He's just kind. He has a depth of humanity that most people just can't always wrap their heads around. And the way this movie doesn't just build the story around it; just kind of celebrates it. It really kind of, you come out of it feeling, wow, so that's what real genuine humanity is. And it's honestly uplifting. And I mean, I know it's so easy to be cynical in the real world these days, but just seeing someone as powerful as Superman show so much humanity, you're gonna feel it. I sure felt it. And it's in between, and yeah, also in between it all, there's a lot of amazing action sequences. The effects in this movie are incredible. It's not just the battles are well choreographed, well designed, and it kind of feels more like this feels more like it was ripped from the comics, and more it's not like they took these characters and tried to make it more realistic. It's more of a sense that they really just embraced some of the more absurd and eccentric parts of the comics, and it works. When put all together, it truly does work, because no matter how twisted or out there everything is, no matter what kind of insane feats Lex Luthor pulls off, it all comes back to the fact that Superman is just a kind, compassionate hero. That's really all it comes back to. And it doesn't need to be more complicated than that. You don't need to overthink or overly scrutinize Superman as a hero, and you can just enjoy what this movie delivers. And I enjoyed it immensely. I mean, I had high expectations. I always have a high expectation for a Superman movie, but this one, it matched, exceeded, and raised the bar for what a Superman movie and a Superman story can be. So, yeah, I encourage everyone, regardless of how you feel about Superman in the past or how you feel about past Superman movies, give this one a chance. It is truly something special. I think James Gunn, David Cornsweet, they knocked it out of the park. So that's all I'll really say. Again, this is Jack Quick Reacts. Thank you all very much for listening. Thank you very much for joining me in my world. And until next time, everyone, take care and stay safe.